Hello everyone and welcome along to your immediate post-match reaction to Rangers 2, Livingston 1. I think it's fair to say we feel like we got away with one there, as Rangers registered another 3 points under Danny Rule at Ibrox. Joining me tonight to discuss it all, and as we've been sitting together as we've gone through that difficult watch of a game, is Iain Mitchell. Iain, how you doing?
Yes, I'm all right. I said to you before the game today, I was out last night, so slightly hungover this morning, and that game made me feel a lot more hungover as the game was going on. So that was a tough watch, very much one of those games you're not going to talk about much, not going to see much about in future, but we won, so that's always obviously the main thing. That's all we can ask for right now with this squad.
Yeah, I think there are a fair few talking points, to be fair, that have come out of that game. Not many of them good, I think it's fair to say either, but we'll stick through them, but we'll try and talk a bit more widely about where Rangers are just now. You're just in Danny Rule's press conference as well, so you can talk a wee bit about that, and then we'll bring in any comments that you've got as well. So if you've got any thoughts, then bring them in. We've got Hugo Bear here saying a win is a win, and Kutchie saying something very different. So it's
both are correct.
Both are correct. Yeah, both are correct. So Iain, just first of all, that was a dreadful afternoon of football, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very slow, and it's strange because it started quite well. You know, team
first 10 minutes.
The first 10 was fine. Get your goal, and then you kind of think, okay. I think we all said before the game it was either going to be a comfortable routine win or a game like we got. And at that point, I thought, this is going to be fine. I said to you pre-game, I think it'll be 3-0 at half-time. I thought we'd romp to an easy victory today, but no, it was anything but that. That Livingston goal, which will obviously come to in a bit more detail later, but it just sucked the life out of the players, it seemed like. The confidence was shot. They weren't trying the risky passes. We say this every game at this point, but we don't have any players who can just take a game by the scruff of the neck, control things, dictate the play, build from the back and go from there. But we just don't have these guys that have that mentality, that skill set. And yeah, I said a few times today, if that's a better team with more attacking threat, they're causing us a lot of problems today. It kind of gives me the fear for Braga a little bit on Thursday, but yeah, we won, so I'm not going to complain too much, but really tough viewing throughout most of that game, especially from their goal onwards.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, but keen to kind of discuss Danny Rule's comments. I was actually, while you're on a press conference, I was just on BBC Sports Sound, and one of the points they put to me that Danny Rule had said to them was that results are more important than performances at this moment in time. It's hard to disagree with that one, although I would like a much better performance than we saw today. Is it just a case of game by game, taking it one at a time, focusing on domestic football? If we get anything in Europe, then it's a bonus, but really just maintain the pace or even catch up a little bit between now and January, and then see what we can do in January?
I think it's exactly that. We said we looked at this run of fixtures a few weeks ago, and we said it has to be 5 wins out of 5 until whatever game it was, kind of thing. And this was now going to be the 4th win of that run, 4 in a row in the league. I don't think we can ask for much more than that right now, given the negatives that I've just gone through with that squad. As you touched on, Danny always mentioned it himself that if he was offered 4 wins out of 4, he doesn't really care how it would have come, just win the games, and that's all we have to do right now. I think looking at league table, we're now 2 points behind Celtic. Obviously they've got a game in hand tonight, but suddenly that feels quite nice. We're kind of back into something suddenly.
Surprising as well, given how bad their start was, and given how when worst start Rangers have had, I think, in any top flight season that they've played. 8 points after 8 games, or 9 points after 8 games, I can't quite remember. But to be only 2 points behind Celtic, who you would see as the main challengers, obviously Hearts are there, and no one's quite sure what's going to happen with Hearts, if they're going to be able to maintain the pace throughout the league season, or if they'll start to falter a little bit. But to be only 2 points behind Celtic at this stage, we know they aren't a good team, or a very good team.
That is the one thing for me in terms of it just matters about winning, doesn't matter results. It doesn't matter about the performance. But I don't see this squad making performances like that. That's not a rarity. Obviously, this is something we see quite a lot. I don't see them winning game after game. I think as well, if you keep putting in performances like that, you're going to trip up. You're not going to just trip up once. You're going to trip up quite consistently. You only get away with this kind of thing for so long. And again, it's going to take a lot more from the players, I know no one's going to give any hate towards Danny Rowe, but if that was like a Russell Martin performance, maybe we don't win that game, obviously, but we need January. We need reinforcements. We need to get some guys out. We need to get at least 4 or 5 starters, not just squad starters who come into this first 11, because right now it's tough. You could go through literally the whole squad in terms of the forwards, the midfield. Defence wasn't exactly terrible as such, but the midfield and attack especially, there's so little there in terms of attacking threat that we're playing Livingston at home, the worst team in the league, with a squad that my confidence today came from looking at the team sheet and looking at Livingston's team, thinking, well, we'll be fine here. This is fine. Yeah. That's not a team that would do. I know they got promoted last year, but it's a championship squad, and we are struggling to create chances. We're not getting many shots away. Their goalies had very little to do.
Let's go on to talk about it. And they were very compact. They were. We noticed that right from the off. They were very compact. To have the ball out wide, cross the ball in as much as you want. Who headed it away with our 6'5" centre halves and
a production line of 6'4", massive guys.
And then we'll take it from there. Now they were a lot different to the Livingston I guess we're used to seeing. They weren't a long ball team and feeding off scraps. They were very much playing out from the back. They were finding their way through our press, if there was a press, to try and get through. But it's their physicality, I think, that we seem to struggle with most. Any team that's physical, any team that puts their weight about, especially defensively, when for us, I think we struggle if any team has a physical striker, and they had, I can't remember if it's Tete Yengi that plays for them, or he's the one that plays for Aberdeen. Yeah. But they had Yengi up front, and he was height for height with Fernandez, which I think takes away some of that that advantage you get from Manny Fernandez's height.
And Yengi's been very, very good today. I thought overall he ran them ragged, and that's a striker who hasn't scored in the league before today. That's his first goal. Yeah. And it's a guy who you should maybe not be bullying, because the guy is 7 foot near enough, but you should be able to play around him, tire him out, work him into position doesn't want to go into, and then you build off the back of that. Just very basic things that a possession heavy team like us should be doing, and there's just none of that. I mean, I know I can see the stats and we have 70% possession, which sounds good, but you never really feel like we're in control. It's always just one loose ball, one drop ball, one misjudged pass, and they can be in within seconds, as we saw for their goal, as we saw for the Butland save near the end. We're so easy to just turn, and obviously it's 2 centre backs today who haven't played together before, I don't think, and are both quite raw. And
hopefully we'll never play together again.
They will, though. This is the fear here. We're relying on this group of players. We're relying on those centre backs to try and get it. Do you think, though, that
playing James Tavernier at centre half would have given more assurance? I would almost be. I am not sold on Nasser Jigga at all. I'm massively out on him. I could be further out on Manny Fernandez. So James Tavernier seems if he's a viable centre half option, then I would do that and play Max Aarons out wide right. But you take away some of the. James Tavernier was probably our more creative player today, and that says something. When
he could have had 2 or 3 assists if people could control a ball and shoot, let alone finish. But you can get a shot away. He could have had a couple of assists from those.
But the problem is if we're not creating at all in any other way. So if you take James Tavernier out of that position, then where does the creativity come from? And
exactly. And don't get me wrong, I saw the team sheet today and saw Fernandez starting, and I was happy about it. I said that pre-game. I thought, I don't think he was bad. I'm not trying to lambast him in any way. He scored a goal as well. He's decent for what he had to do. But I just, if I go to like a Hibs midweek, if you're going to Parkhead or something, I don't think we can go with those 2 centre backs that we started with today, because they looked out of sorts at times against Yengi. If that's a good team, we're in deep trouble for what we're seeing today.
Yeah, let's touch on the main talking points then. First one, Rangers go 1-0 up after 10 minutes. We spoke before the game as we were sort of standing watching the teams warm up, and we said that if we get a quick start here, that will just settle the nerves and it will get us going. 1-0 up after 10 minutes. Feels like a bit of a cheat code, that the floating cross from James Tavernier into the box, and Manny Fernandez is there to meet it off the crossbar and in. 1-0. All going swimmingly after 10 minutes, and it felt like we were taking control of the game in those early moments, and we're doing well.
Yeah, the thing we struggle with against most teams at Ibrox is when they sit in and we can't can't get through their blocks. So it's why bringing a set piece coach in was so vital the last week or two ago, whatever that was. And obviously 1 corner, 1 goal. So a great start for him. But yeah, it just felt strange because I thought, okay, that's us, broke them down, we've got our goal. They'll need to come out a little bit more. We'll pick them off. We'll have a lovely time, and all good. But just like I said before, it was okay start. We were doing everything all right, and then one moment just changes all of that. That one long ball that does our defence every single time, flick on and it's a goal. And it's just from that point on, as I've said already, it was really, really tough, really boring, really nothing.
It was
nothing.
They're all stuck playing the safe option.
Yes.
Which is
how many times did we say that they're making the right pass a lot of the time
Yeah.
to the right person? It's just
most
the wrong
of the time
side
not
of that
quickly
person.
enough, and to the wrong side of that person. The wrong side of that person, I think, is really important because
It's definitely. Sorry, here you go.
we're making people stop in their tracks and take a step back to control the ball, and then all momentum's lost.
Yes.
And it's not just happening once or like on one side of the pitch or whatever. It's happening all over the park. And to be honest, our passing today was atrocious. The number of times that passes got cut out. Nico Raskin got man of the match here at Ibrox, and he was horrendous. Like, absolutely awful. Nico Raskin, I don't think deserves to be on that pitch for Rangers at this moment in time, but we don't have anyone else, and that's part of the problem in terms of. But in the midfield three of Raskin, Diomande, and Asgard did not work in that first half. But the quality of passing, the tempo of passing,
definitely,
just taking the safe option at all times, it all leads to this. We're not getting a chance to be creative because Livingston are back in their compact shape. Which
by the time Ant-Man or Gassama get the ball, they've got their bank of 5 back in place, reinstated, ready to go again. So it's so hard to break down a team that's set up like that. But why do you then let them get set back up?
Yeah, I don't understand. We've done that. I mean, we did it through Russell Martin. We did it through. we did it at times under Foot Come On.
Yep.
Where we just let them get back in and into their position, and then think, all right, okay, now we'll try and go. It's like we'll try and take advantage of it when they're out of possession and out of position. Easy for me to say. And we just don't do it. It's the most simple things. You think they're trying to overcomplicate it.
I just think they're. I don't know if it's nerves, but it's massively a confidence thing. I think they're scared to give the ball away, and it's like, well, if I make that risky pass and it doesn't go through, the crowd on my back, and then I'm under pressure for the next pass, so no, let's go safe. You can't be a footballer and play like that. Like, there's times to do that if you're winning a game and trying to control things, absolutely. But when you're trying to break a team down, you're trying to create something, try to liven the crowd up, because the crowd was flat all day today because of what the product was. Like, fair enough, we have to back the team, and we're always going to do that, but I also don't think. Give you something.
Well, we didn't really test the goalkeeper at all, much if at all.
I turned to you about 70 odd minutes and said, "Has that keeper made a save?"
Yeah, I think the stats showed that we had 9 shots today. Obviously, 2 of them were goals, but outside of that, I don't think there was any that were memorable or caused the keeper any particular trouble. Gassama should have scored at one of his hits wide, but we're massively lacking creativity, aren't we? But we're also lacking one of the things that was very noticeable, and basically the whole time Danilo was on the pitch, but he was, especially in the first half when Asgard was playing in that sort of number 10 role, Danilo was pulling in and actually showing for the ball, and he was involving other players and bringing other people into play, holding the ball up. But no one was making that run behind him to then mean that we had anything in the box or any threat. If that's what Danilo was doing, Asgard needs to be the one that goes beyond.
It's the whole point.
And he wasn't. He was just hiding the whole game, and he was again hooked off at half time, deservedly hooked off at half time. I'd have hooked off before half time, to be honest, if I could have. Is a player that just flatters to deceive.
It's so hard. It's really, I was going to say upsetting, that sounds a bit dramatic, but I was so excited for him to come in the profile, and you see him, and he's a big guy, he's a good stature, good first touch, he's a good player technically, he's got kind of all the right tools.
We've only really seen it once though, and that was his goal he got.
That's what's killing me. Like, he obviously can do this. And again, like you're saying, Danilo drops in, you need either a Diomande or an Asgard to power past him, so defence either leave Danilo to give him space, or then you give yourself a guy in the box, because like you say, Danilo was dropping deep, as he's always going to do that. That's his style. and then the three centre backs for Livingston are just looking about, going, oh, okay, there's no one here to mark, so I'll just stand here, keep my shape. Then I'll watch someone coming. Like, it's so easy for them, and that should, like, on paper, that should work. Our team today should be creating chances with Ant-Man and the assists he can get, with Asgard and what ability he seems to have. Gassama's threat. There's attacking-minded players there, but they just don't seem to work together well enough. I don't know if it's a personnel thing. I don't think it's a tactics thing, because, like you say, this is another manager who's not playing this way deliberately, surely. Like, why would you? So I just think it's a personnel thing, and it just goes back to the fact that the recruitment, again, hasn't been good enough, and January can't come soon enough. We need to be doing things January 1st, which is brutal.
It does sound like the club is going to spend in January. How much that is going to be, I don't know, and how many positions they're going to try and improve at that stage, I don't know.
We need pace.
We need pace.
Pace and movement.
But Gassama's fast. Ant-Man's fast. Miovski is always looking for runs in behind, and today was the first day that you really look at them and go, right, we actually tried to play the runs in behind for Miovski, and he looked better today than he has done.
That's true.
Has done previously.
Low bar, but it's true.
Yeah, but we've got pace. It's just Gassama, since we stopped playing in Champions League qualifiers, has just been non-existent, pretty much, hasn't he? Like, what drink's going on with JD Gassama? Is it just down to how we're playing? Is it? I mean, in the first half, maybe up till Livingston scored the equaliser, JD Gassama was getting the ball. He was facing up their fullback, and he beat him twice.
Yep. Put him on his backside.
I put him on his backside a couple of times, and he beat him twice, and then he just stopped doing it. He just stopped trying it. Like, why? What is going through Gassama's head, do you think, at that point, when he's just like, it's like, sure, you just go at him.
It's funny. What makes, like, elite players, and I'm thinking more like your Premier League, your La Liga guys here, is that they'll face up the defender, in terms of wingers, I mean here. They face up the defenders and go at them. And if that doesn't work, they just go at them again, and they keep going. And like you say, Gassama had no reason to stop doing what he was doing. It was working. He was getting to the byline. A couple of poor crosses in, don't get me wrong, but it's a threat. It's something that Livingston obviously don't want to come up against. They want Gassama to be standing there, rolling it back to the midfield, taking it, thrown back. I just don't get if it's a confidence thing. He did take a kick. He kind of took a knock early on. I don't know if that put him off a little bit, or something wasn't feeling right with him. But yeah, when he's our kind of main attacking threat, and teams know that, if you can stop Gassama, we are, again, as we're saying, a difficult watch, because we know Asgard's not going to do much. Diomande, again, it's just here. Like, I know it scores the winner, so don't get me wrong, it's right place, right time maybe, but it doesn't do enough for 90 minutes. Ant-Man, again, has been disappointing. There's no one else in the team who can do the things that Gassama does in terms of his pace and his skills. And yeah, we're a bit of a one-trick pony. It's just that pony isn't doing very well now.
Yes, it's not. We have kind of skipped over the Livingston penalty shout, which we were a bit suspicious of at the during the game. We thought, oh, that looked like it could have been maybe it was up the other end of the park, so we were kind of like, maybe it came off his knee or whatever. Having watched it back, it's a penalty.
I'd be screaming for it. Yeah, again, in real time, I thought he just kind of blocked it, like with his midriff kind of thing, and there wasn't much of a VAR check.
No.
I don't think on the screen that VAR was checking anything. So again, from where we are quite far away, it's hard to see it. But replay wise, I don't see how that's not a penalty. And again, I say this every time penalty discussions come up, that I don't really know what is and what isn't anymore. But you know, I was saying the Ralston one is a penalty for me, so this one's quite similar in terms of like angles and stuff. And I know
ball's going towards the goal.
It's funny, his hand has to be somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's not as if his hand's outstretched and blocking the ball, but his hand is away from his body. It's the ball is past his body, and then it's the hand that saves it. So yeah,
I think it's more just if it doesn't hit the hand, it's a shot on target.
Yeah,
which is the thing.
Which makes sense.
Which I think would then, for me, make it a penalty. Maybe in a natural position, it may not be able to get his hand out of the way, but for me, it would make it a penalty. It's one we got away with one.
We're due one, to be fair.
Yeah,
we're due something. So.
We're due something. But yeah, I think that we have to be fair on that one and say I do think that was a penalty. And then if we'd went 2-1 down after half an hour, God knows what that would have looked like for the rest of the game.
I didn't see us scoring one goal in terms of get a second, so I did not see us getting 3 in total. Again, the lack of threat that we carry. if a team does go a goal or two up, the same way Roma kind of did, 10 days, 2 weeks ago kind of thing. They just got their lead and went, well, we'll go there and do something, and we couldn't. And don't get me wrong, Roma and Livingston's slightly different. Just slightly different. But I don't think Livingston being 1-1 or 2-1 changes how they play.
Yeah.
Don't suddenly start sitting in deeper or anything. They'd play that way naturally. So we'd had the same issues, just with a more not toxic again, a bit far, but a restless crowd we'll go for. Because if that's 2-1 Livingston for a longer spell, these players don't have it in them to come back for that.
One of the huge things that was a concern was the lack of options that we had from the bench. Miovski was really the only one that you're looking at going, he could go in and maybe make a bit of a difference.
We did say Curtis,
but he seems to be miles out the picture. I'm not sure what's going on there. But yeah, Miovski was the only one, and that's got a real concern as we go forward, because that starting 11 showed nothing, and then because of the injuries we've got, the bench is weakened to the extent that you're like, okay, if we're really struggling, if we're 1-0 down with half an hour to go,
who's going to fix
it? Who's going to come on and be that difference maker for us? And
it's even the same thing of people say Asgard's getting chance after chance, which he has. He's probably got more chances than most in terms of like Barami and Lyle Cameron and stuff. But Barami was fine when he came on today. I thought he was
better when he came on today, and he was. But it shows you where the level was, though, that he was better because he was energetic, he moved and he was constantly looking forward for passes.
Yeah,
that was why
it wasn't even making those passes. Mainly, it was just the fact he was trying something. And again, that's what's the killer here. It's not as if you've got guys on the bench who are pushing the first team, and you've got guys who are not even making the bench, which we've had in previous seasons that could affect a game. Whereas right now, as you're saying, we're looking at that bench going, well, there's not much goal threat on there. There's not much goals on there.
Yeah.
And even with some of the injuries we've got, if they were fit today, I'm thinking Chermiti mainly. I don't see him, coming on and going, okay, this is something. Here we go. It's just a really average squad. And again, we've won 4 in a row.
Average has probably been kind.
I'm trying to keep this sort of
genuinely positive, at points when I was watching that, I was thinking, I'm not even sure this is a mid-table Scottish Premiership game. I'm not even sure it felt like that level of quality. Like, I think that was very much a bottom of the SPFL Premiership game for a lot of the time in that. And then obviously we'll come to talk about the Rangers' second goal in a second, but we're 2-1 up and there's 8 minutes of added time. I think we spent the last 15 minutes, including that added time, punting the ball away. It felt like I was down the park on a Saturday morning watching amateur teams playing and trying to cling on to a lead.
I was obviously covering our Twitter today, or X, I don't know what to call it these days. In the first 15-20 minutes of that second half, I've said this before, I had nothing to tweet because nothing was happening. So there's no like set style or performances that we're seeing, and we're not battering down the goal. As we've touched on already, the goalkeeper's not making saves, so that side of it's poor. And then again, like you're saying, at the end of the game, it is just like, get it away, lump it clear. And we should be doing that. Like, I'm not against that as such, but it just shows there's no real.
It was a wee bit different because we spend a lot of time dilly-dallying on the ball.
It was get it away for this defensive area. That was the key.
But I think in previous games when we've just been up by a goal or whatever, we have spent a lot of time messing about in our own box, trying to find a way to pass the ball out. And today that was not the case. I think the players understood what was going on. But we could have been 2-1 down had that penalty been given. We definitely should have been 2-1 down when James Tavernier slips and gives the ball to the Livingston striker. Fantastic save from Jack Butland again. I don't think there would have been any recovering had we gone down from that, but it was just symptomatic. And I thought James Tavernier was probably one of our better players today, actually. But he
was a very frustrated player today. I noticed he was really having a go at people, and
there was no movement
in the right way. Exactly, it was Ant-Man was either running in when he should have gone out, or vice versa, and he was going away when he should have come closer. All these kind of things that I don't think he should be babying players through that cost £3-4 million. These should be guys coming here and dominating compared to what they're up against. And again, Ant-Man, like Diamande, like Asgard, just didn't do much. And that's, again, it just goes back to we're relying on Tav to score the goals, to make the goals, to try and lift people, to tell people where to stand. Like these basic things that professional footballers should be doing. But yeah, just overall not good enough at all there.
Yes, and the longer the game went on, the less it looked like we were going to be able to find something, anything.
It's either going to be something daft or something wonderful, if that makes sense.
And I'm sure it was kind of a mixture of both. The
Mhm.
goal that we scored, wonderful, maybe pushing it, but it was a great ball from James Tavernier. I think he played that same ball a couple. He probably should have scored almost every time he played that ball, which I think is something that he should be doing more, over the top of the fullback onto the on-running striker. It was Miovski, I think, on this occasion, if I'm correct. Looks like it's a 50-50 pretty much between him and the goalkeeper to see who can get there first. Miovski seems to get there first, then collides with the goalkeeper, which always makes you a wee bit nervous.
I thought it was a foul. I barely celebrated at all. Yeah.
And then Mohamed Diomande squats the ball into the back of the empty net. Barely any celebration. Because the assistant referee put his flag up after the ball hit the net, there's barely any celebration. And we all just kind of thought, Miovski won his tight for offside. It looks like he fouled him, so I don't know. It's hard to see, obviously, from the stands as to if his foot made contact or what the contact was like.
I've seen a very quick replay. It looks like he wins the ball and then maybe follows through, but not in like a foul sense. Just that, again, your foot has to be somewhere, and the goalie's always going to milk that, isn't he? So yeah.
And then I think what would have been the most frustrating of all would have been had Mohamed Diomande been the one that was offside if he was ahead of the ball, but thankfully it wasn't. Anticipation grew a bit as the referee took longer and longer and kept touching his earpiece, and a goal was given, much to the surprise and relief of everyone in Ibrox. But it just feels like a massive get out of jail free day, doesn't it?
Yeah, and to be fair, you're going to have days like this. I mean, no one, especially as we've touched on with this squad,
come away from home though in seasons. They don't tend to happen at Ibrox.
Yeah, this should have been like a 3-4-0 comfortable, people leaving at 80th minute kind of thing because it's done sort of game. But I just don't think this squad really has that just now. We've kind of struggled more with the pressure of Ibrox rather than going away from home and trying to deal with like adverse crowds and stuff. So yeah, I didn't see where a goal was coming from. I said that to you. I didn't see who was going to score or who could possibly score, let alone get an attack for us going kind of thing. So took a bit of luck. It was, again, Diomande. I'll praise him for the fact he was in an attacking space for once.
Yeah.
He wasn't just lingering about midfield or defence as he was a lot of the time in that second half especially. So fair dues, he's got forward. Fair play to Miovski, again, being brave. And it just comes from that Tav pass that you mentioned. So a little bit of luck, a little bit of quality in terms of the pass. But at this point, who cares? Just win the game. And like you said, those last 8 minutes that were added, I mean, you both were struggling to watch a lot of it as we were for most of the game. But that final whistle was a massive relief. And yeah, I touched on it right at the start. No one really cares about the performance or how we win. Just win and go again.
And it's 4 wins from 4 for Danny Rule.
Some achievement, to be fair.
He's done well with very little to work with. And actually, the squad's getting weaker and weaker because of injuries. 4 wins from 4 for Danny Rule. And we go on. We need to find a way to get at least 1 point in the Europa League, and we play Braga at home during the week. But if we're playing with that central defensive partnership, it's hard to see. It's hard to see as
I could see him going back 5, to be fair, on Thursday, just bringing Tav inwards, putting Aarons out on the right, maybe even Ant-Man on the right, just as a different option, I guess, depending on how the game goes. But yeah, I don't think we'll see Chus, Jigga and Fernandez together, because if Yenge of Livingston causes them that much bother, whoever Braga have got up front in for a field day.
It feels like Falkirk's the big one next Sunday, which will be here at Ibrox again.
Yeah, if I can only win one of the next 2 games, it's the Falkirk one for sure. I'm kind of done with Europe personally. Yeah,
I think it's the Falkirk one is huge in terms of just keeping going, keeping that train rolling, and keeping in touch with those. I was going to say other challengers. I'm reticent to say that we're challenging.
We're still
for
4th,
aren't we?
So I've got 11 points with Hibs, I think, after today. Yeah. But I think I'm very wary about saying that we are challenging for the league, because I don't think we are, in all honesty, because I can't see this team not faltering along the way. I think
the only way we are is if the other teams help us stay in it. If that makes sense. Hearts and Celtic and Hibs, I guess, they're in the conversation. If they all keep dropping points as well, it's kind of like in a title race by default. It's not like we are. I think
it's kudos to Danny Rule in terms of giving us the chance to even have this kind of conversation, because we were miles off it. I mean, we had the worst start that Rangers have ever had in a top flight season, and yet as it stands right now, Celtic obviously play away to St Mirren on an 8 PM kickoff, but we're currently 2 points behind Celtic. We're not very sure what's going to happen with Hearts. Hearts, if they're going to keep up that pace, so we've got to pay our respects to them in terms of the way they've played and the way they've approached their games. But Celtic are traditionally the challengers that we have, and we've always expected them to find form at some point. But if they continue to falter, if we are 2 points behind and we're within touching distance when it comes to January, then it feels like
just stay in touch until January, until we can try and fix this. And again, I don't expect multi-millions to be spent, but if you can keep in touch, try and build something, try and find something that clicks a little bit. Because again, I will die on this hill that some of these players are good players.
Yeah,
they are good footballers. That they're just taking a lot of time to adjust and not quite meeting anywhere near the expectations. And Daniel touched on that because he was asked about Asgard specifically, and said that his time will come. He does back himself. He's just maybe got to show it a little bit more. But I think Daniel just needs to find something that works and run with that. Whether it's a formation, a style, players in certain positions. Again, like we say, Barami came on today. Does that mean he can't play against Braga? He's not in this European squad, right? So he's not in. And Ciala's another one that's not going to be in that. So again, it's a little bit awkward for Thursday. But I'm more thinking league-wise, find a team that works, find a shape that works, and just pray to God that something eventually clicks here, because no more days like today, please.
Yeah, definitely feel like we got away with one today, and yeah, we're all on to the games we've got next week. There's going to come thick and fast between now and I think it's something. It's a crazy amount of games and a crazy amount of days,
the next 6 weeks. A lot.
So if we come out the other side of that and we're still within touching distance of Celtic, if we close the gap to Hearts, then we can have a serious conversation about, okay, down to recruitment now, which is not the reliable part of the club that you want it to be.
Not quite. No.
So, but I'd be amazed if there's not a change in approach based on what's happened from the summer. So it'll be interesting. We're on the edges of potentially being in a league challenge, but it's still a bit pie in the sky for me at this time. But we'll see where it goes. 3 points, a win,
up the road,
and that's basically what P. Shore said here. He says we won, we responded to an equaliser, we saw the game out, we won. He was happy that we won, which is positive.
So am I.
And so am I as well. So yes, I think we'll end it there. Please do subscribe to the TI YouTube channel if you've not already. Around 50% of the people who watch us each video are not subscribed. It's really easy. It's free, and it takes you a couple of seconds and helps us out massively in terms of being able to grow the channel. We're also really close to that 9,000 subscriber mark, which is fantastic. You can also become a TI member, which Malcolm Colley has done here. Thank you very much to Malcolm. It's $1.99 a month, and it just helps us out hugely as well in terms of just being able to provide the content and the volume of content that we do. We all do this for fun. We don't do this for any fun. We try.
When's the fun part?
We hope the fun's going to start at some point, but we all do this because we love Rangers, and we love talking about Rangers, and we love talking about Rangers with all of you. So if that's something that you'd like to do to support the channel, then that's fantastic as well. But we will round it off there. We are back live tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Is it yourself?
That's me.
Yes, lucky you. And I'll be back later on during the week with more podcasts. But thank you very much, everyone, for listening. And from an Ibrox, where Rangers got 3 points eventually, we wish you good night. And until next time, goodbye.